What's going on, guys? It's Michael MGF, and today I'm going to be doing my first showcase video in 2017 on my custom Logan, aka the Wolverine, to celebrate tonight's release of the movie. And this is Hugh Jackman's last time playing Logan. He's been playing this guy for 17 years. I mean, I've only been alive a little longer than that. But of course, I know a lot of you guys over in Europe have already seen the movie, and probably a bunch of you over here have already seen it too. But personally, I can't see it until Friday, which really sucks. But what would also suck is if you guys spoiled the movie down in the comments, so let's not do that. But I mean, who am I kidding? Most of the comments are going to be fake spoiler comments anyway, with just like a few real ones trickled throughout here and there, so just don't read the comments. It's probably a good idea. But anyway, you're probably wondering, why just Logan? Where's X-23? Where's Xavier? Where's the guy Pierce? Where's the whole movie's cast? Well, I mean, I'm not going to make the whole movie's cast, and I probably won't even make Xavier, but I have started on X-23, and I just pretty much got as far as the hairpiece, and I haven't really gone any further than that. I still haven't even totally decided if I'm ultimately going to make her or not, but I do have like a little 2-week window in between now and when I start on Guardians 2 figures, so it will probably happen, and she'll get her own showcase right up alongside Logan, just not in this video. I wanted to put all my focus and effort into just making Logan for right now so that I can make the most out of what could be my last time making Hugh Jackman as Lego Wolverine. So yeah, but then of course also, where are the X-Men Apocalypse figures? I mean, in a couple months it will have been a year since the movie, and it's already so late no one cares at all, and that's totally okay and understandable. But literally all I have to do out of all 10 of those figures, all like 9 of them are done. I just have to paint the legs on this guy and like work on his tail, and then they'll finally be done, and you'll see the showcase that probably only like a fraction of you care about. So that's really great, and also the showcase is going to be really great. So let's get started. All right, so here we go with the full figure, and you can see that of course everything on this figure is fully 100% hand painted by me. Everything on it, you've heard it before, you know what I'm talking about, and I think it turned out really great, the paint job this time around, because of course I got to do a lot of weathering and even some blood effects on this figure, which is usually something the characters I make does not, the figures I make do not warrant. And so, I tried to make the most out of it on Logan here, and I think it turned out pretty great. So yeah, then also the hairpiece is the Superman hairpiece, or at least the, it started out as a Superman hairpiece in 2016. And of course, I did sand the sides off before painting it because I just wanted to make it look a little less wide. And so there was that. But then, I mean, the paint job that went onto the hairpiece, I mean, it was a base color of black, and then you have some tan weathering in there, some light gray, some dark gray, some golden brown, just a lot of different colors of, just a lot of different colored airbrushing that went into this hairpiece. And then of course onto the beard too. And the beard is fully sculpted to connect with the hairpiece. And because, I mean, Logan's just got one hell of a beard in the movie, and it definitely warrants what I think is my first sculpted beard. So I think it turned out pretty cool. And I definitely made an effort to make sure that while sculpting the beard that, the beard did perfectly line up with the hairpiece that I was using. And then also that, I was still able to paint a mouth inside there. And then of course I did my best to paint on Hugh Jackman's likeness with the eyes here, and then you have the little scar on the left here, and then also a little bit of blood above the eyebrow. It's all on there, and I'm super happy with the way the head turned out. And you can also really see those like light gray highlights beneath the beard on the bottom there, and so I made sure that those stood out because they're definitely pretty apparent on his beard in the movie. And so that pretty much covers Logan's head. But then the rest of the outfit is one of like 2.5, which I will talk about in a second. But you'll notice that the jacket is actually, more extensive and a little longer than a Cape Madness AR jacket that you might have seen on my figures before, like aka like Jyn Erso, I think I used one on, for instance. But what I did was, of course, I took the trench coat, I trimmed it down to size because it did have to go just a little bit past his belt, and then I painted the entire thing in the color you see before doing a lot of black and gray shading and weathering, and I think it turned out looking pretty cool, man. You got a little bit of detail on the back of it too, and also the buttons and everything else painted onto the front of it. And also you'll notice the torso is where most of the weathering is done, is where most of the blood and everything is focused, just like in the movie. And you can see that I do have a little bit of his chest exposed there, but then all the wrinkles within his like on his tank top, and then also the blood you can see has a lot of like dark shading in it, like a lot of dark gray. I even used like a pavement color, and just I did my best to make sure that blood looked as realistic as I could get it on a Lego minifigure, and I'm super happy with it. So yeah, then the sleeves are, you know, pretty much the basic design that I've done with all my minifigure sleeves for like as far back as I can remember. Just basically painted the sleeve on, and then you have a little piece of a shipping label glued around the arm, and that's painted, of course, too. And then also the weathering and a little bit of blood on the arms themselves. But the claws, you'll notice the claws are not the Lego claws, because, I mean, maybe 2014 Ross was okay with putting those on his Days of Future Past Wolverine, but today I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. They're too big, and so I decided that I would definitely go ahead and make my own. And this was always the challenge going into Logan. It wasn't going to be the head, it wasn't going to be any of the, you know, the entire figure itself, but it was going to be the claws. And so the claws are pretty much made from the exact same material that I've used on, like, I always use like flash lightning bolts as an example, and then pretty much just a lot of 3D elements that I've done before. You've seen me talk about this, you know, this material before. It's basically just rubber. And so what I did there was I just cut all the little claws out of that, and then I went ahead and I glued them individually onto each hand. But then after that, with the glue in place and then a little bit of paint, I sculpted part of the hand on top of the claws so that it would look like the claws are actually protruding from the minifigure's hands. And then to top it off, I added a blood effect right on top of each, and you can pretty clearly see all that blood going on there. And I think the blood really helps with the transition from the minifigure hand to the sculpted portion to the claws, and I'm super satisfied with the way the claws turned out. And not only are they secured in via the glue, the paint, the, you know, the sculpting work that went in, but then also you have the, you know, because they're rubber, they're flexible, and so they can't really break that easily. And so I'm pretty happy with how the claws turned out in the end, and I think they definitely complement the figure and are honestly better than I thought they would be. So there is that. And then also you'll notice the legs use the same Death Star Trooper leg design that I have used on various minifigures that have standard pants for as far back as I can remember, probably as far back as 2014 when Lego first debuted the design, because it is just such a good design and I love using it. And I have zero regrets using it on Logan or any of the figures I've used it on in the past, because it's just a really great design to put onto characters that don't have a lot going on, you know, on their legs. And so I did that here. And you might notice that I actually used a different gray color, like a slightly more like, it's kind of has like a bit more of a drab type of tone to the gray color that I use this time around, as opposed to like my usual kind of like dark bluish gray that tends to match up with Lego's gray. So that's just a quick little thing to mention. You have the belt buckle and a couple other little lines painted next to that on the belt piece itself, but then also the boots, or I guess his shoes rather, he's not wearing boots, are painted in a base color of dark brown, and then you have the bases of the shoes painted all the way around on all four sides of the minifigure's legs, of course, and a ton of weathering and shading on top of that. And I think it turned out looking really great. And like I said, though, this is only you know, one of like 2.5 outfits. So let's go ahead and transition into the second outfit. So what I've pretty much done here is just painted a separate torso to throw on the minifigure at any given time, because this was never the main outfit that I wanted to make. Of course, I did consider it. This is his like first act outfit, right? This is the suit that he wears and what we've seen in a lot of promotional material, but I ultimately wanted to do this outfit that you've been seeing throughout the entirety of this showcase up until this point. But I figured when I looked at the legs, I was like, you know, those can still fit really well with a painted torso if I just, you know, paint an extra one. And so that's what I did. I pulled out a black torso out of my organizer. I got to work and I painted everything you see on here. I didn't go crazy. I didn't use any Cape Madness jackets for this particular torso, because this was never meant to be the main variant. This is just kind of like an extra thing I figured I would do. And I figured I would also, of course, show you in the video. So it's just the painted design of his suit. You got the buttons and everything on there, his shirt, and then a little bit of weathering and, you know, dirt on there as well. And then, you know, a few little gray lines like on the back. And then also you have some buttons painted onto the sides of each arm. And so that's pretty much it for this alternative torso. And I did not paint the back of the belt because, of course, the legs that I'm using here are still the ones that I use for the main outfit. And so this jacket does have to go over the back of the belt, and I'd rather not have any paint get damaged. And that's why I still leave that blank, even though I have painted this alternative torso by now. And that is also why I painted the torso in the first place, was because of how well the legs connected to it. And so that's also why I didn't add any weathering to the legs in the first place for this outfit, was because of how well it would connect with this alternative torso. So that is pretty much it for Logan. And real quick, here's what he looks like in just his tank top. And yeah, I did also weather a separate pair of arms for this version of the minifigure as well, and that's why I kind of said you'd see 2.5 versions of the minifigure in this showcase, because I just kind of considered this to only be half of a variant, given that I just use, you know, the same torso from the main, and this is really just a, you know, pair of arms. So yeah, aside from that, that is pretty much it for this entire showcase video, guys. My first solo showcase, and as far back as I can remember, man, it's been a long time since I've showcased just one figure. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video thus far, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
For the future is never truly said.
Bullshit! Most of you end up dying horrible deaths in like 45 years anyway, with or without the damn Sentinels. You'd think sending my consciousness back to the 70s to change the course of history would have been enough, but nope, apparently not. I'm f***ing done with this franchise. Alright guys, and there you go. That is it for my first showcase video in 2017 on Logan himself. And be sure to let me know if you enjoyed this showcase video or maybe found yourself inspired to make your own Logan or other characters from the movie by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion on the figure down in the comments. Anything you might like or dislike about it. What do you think? I mean, if you don't like it, you can totally let me know without tearing me down in the comments, and that's always a great thing to do. But aside from that, guys, you can totally follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links to all three of those are always down in the description below, and there you're going to be seeing the finished X-Men Apocalypse figures finally, and also potentially X-23 like I said at the start of the video, and then after that will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 previews, depending on, you know, what I have time for, you know, because I'll be in the thick of making those figures, and I usually tend to not have time for a lot of previews when I have a deadline like I'm about to face, and it just tends to not work out, but you'll probably see a few, and you can totally look forward to all that over there before you see it here. And so that's it. I'm gonna go and see the movie, not tonight, but tomorrow, and it's going to be great. I can't wait to see how they conclude the story. I mean, it's super grim, it's rated R, of course, but it's just the dark future that ends up happening anyway for the mutants, and just like, this story is incredible. I mean, and I can't wait to see how they end it for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's going to be pretty cool, man, and I am not ready for the feels, is I think what I will leave it at. So that's it, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I'll catch you later. All right. Bye-bye. Alright, and there you go. That's it for my showcase on Joel Wolverine. No, that was awful. And so then also the head. You need to by dropping this video a like below. Gosh damn it, I just had to do that.
Mutants. They're gone now.
Bitch, we still haven't gotten a showcase. Everything turned out, especially because I got to do blah, blah, blah. This is definitely a